video for sailing and entertainment purposes only. You're dang skippy it is.
Who's your favorite reaction channel? Somebody asked.
Karina.
Good evening.
Did you ever do an interview from a reaction channel? Of course, Karina Kaboom.
Why are you walking away so fast? You're walking in uniform.
Obsessed with Karina Kaboom. What's wrong with Karina Kaboom? She's a nice lady.
You're kidding, right?
So this is where it's going to get interesting for y'all.
Do you miss anything at all about Amber?
I miss Twinkie Wasabi and Rarity.
Hello everybody! In today's video, we are talking about Becky's live from yesterday, in which she actually spilled the tea on something that happened between her and Amber that has been wildly discussed in the community, as well as, in my personal opinion, Becky finally shaded her ex many times, okay? So I will link Becky's channel and video down below. Go and subscribe to her. We're going to get into it, if you could not tell already, from my ridiculous intro. So as always, everything I'm saying is just for entertainment purposes only, not meant to be taken seriously. I'm sharing opinions and not facts about publicly accessible information made public by public figures. First, I would urge you to please, if you can, be kind in the comments section. Please do not go to these people's channels and leave them mean-spirited, negative, discouraging, disparaging comments.
But please, can you tell us what actually happened with the cereal incident? I'm so glad you're feeling comfortable talking on live. We've missed you.
The only thing I remember about the cereal incident is apparently she was on, like, You Now, or maybe it was the vlog or something, and I was in the background pouring cereal, and she heard me pouring the cereal, and that's whenever she was like, "What cereal is that?" And it was my cereal. It was my cereal. It was my cereal.
What? Why did it matter?
I don't know.
Are you serious?
Yes, I guess she was just making sure I didn't get into her cereal.
Jesus God.
It shouldn't matter.
So I wanted to put this first, even though this happens pretty last in Becky's live, because this is a rare instance. I think this is the only time, possibly, Becky, I could be wrong, correct me in the comments down below, but I believe this could be the only time that Becky has actually, like, addressed the food aggression incident. This incident is talked about a lot. And you know me, if you're just joining us in Medias Res, basically, the thing is that I don't really judge Amber's food. I don't make videos. I don't care about the food aspect and her weigh-ins, I don't judge that. Because I don't care. But this is different because you took away somebody's cereal. That was hers. Because that was Becky's food, and why are you taking it away from her? Okay, that's just mean to do as a partner. But on a bigger note, this is about the food aggression as evidenced in Eric's vlog. And I can't play what Amber said about it, but I can explain the situation. This is what happened. And the reason that I'm talking about it is not because it's food aggression, but because I think that on top of that, Amber was just so mean to Becky. And that's what I'm talking about, okay? So there's a clip where in Eric's vlog that a lot of reaction channels have re-uploaded. People have talked about it because it's a very famous, infamous clip where Amber didn't know she was being filmed. Eric was filming her in his vlog. And what ended up happening was, because she didn't know she was being filmed, she was like talking to, you know, Becky, and Becky was eating a cereal. Like, who cares? Who cares? Okay. And she was like, "Why are you eating this cereal? What's with this cereal?" and all this other stuff. And Becky was like, they were whispering to each other. And then, like, I think as Amber Lynn became more aware that she was being filmed, she walked away and she was like, "Oh, the paparazzi are here." Yeah, you wish. Okay. So when Amber Lynn was asked about this, and she was asked about this numerous times, she said this: "Oh, me and Becky were going on a diet together, and all of a sudden she was eating the cereal, and I was just upset that we had promised each other the night before. We had the serious talk." That's what Amber said. "We had the serious talk, and in this talk we decided we were going to eat better, we were going to do better, whatever, and all of a sudden she's eating cereal." Just let the woman eat cereal.
No, Amber Lynn is not allergic to eggs.
Can't play Amber's clips. For those of you that don't know, Amber Lynn goes after people who use her clip. Point here and this is very important, that Anne Boleyn's version of events was, oh, I wasn't bothering Becky. I didn't care what cereal she ate. We had just promised each other that we were going to do better next time, and here she is eating a cereal. Okay, as if cereal is even some big deal. And Becky is telling you what really happened. I personally believe Becky. Let me know who you believe, okay? Becky's like, no, she just didn't want me to eat her cereal while it was mine. Let me just say this. I think that when Anne Boleyn kind of asked Becky not to work, and she said, oh, I make enough for the both of us, because Becky was employed at the factory. And she's like, oh, I make enough for the both of us. You should quit, blah, blah, blah. I think that she was in full control financially. She did that, in my opinion, because Destiny had cheated on her. And so she didn't want Becky to do that. And that's why I think she asked her to quit. But the point is, when she was fully in control of Becky's money, she was probably thinking that's her cereal because she bought it. She used to say when they were still dating, oh, everything is ours, the money is ours, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what you really thought. Basically, there you have it. It's been long debated in the community. Basically, Becky admits that Amber just didn't want her to eat her cereal, while Amber's like, no, we were just trying to do better. So I believe Becky. Thanks, Becky, for clarifying that.
Any advice for people who may currently be in a toxic relationship? I know you mentioned reaction channels helped you identify issues you might have overlooked. Did any red flags seem obvious after the fact?
Oh, yeah. All the red flags seemed obvious after the fact, after I sat and watched from an outside perspective, myself completely shut down, disassociate, and I was so detached from the YouTube world. I didn't read comments. I didn't watch reaction channels. I was just in the videos from time to time.
I feel incredibly bad for Becky that she was in this relationship where she literally had to disassociate. If you were watching around that time, and all the videos are, of course, still available on Amber's channel, because she would never, under any circumstances, she would never delete a video. She keeps all her videos up. But I remember even when Becky was not in renal failure, because that was a thing, she was in renal failure, and she was being pretty much asked, and that's a nice word that I'm using, to drive her ex around everywhere and appear in videos with that Harry Potter sweater, where it was obvious that Becky was just totally incoherent. But deeper than that, whenever Becky would appear in the videos, I remember watching, you could tell she just wasn't even part of the relationship in a way. She was very nonchalant, disattached. She was basically emotionally dangling, okay? And I just feel that that's no way to be in any relationship. And it has nothing to do with being filmed for YouTube and her ex making tons of money at it, It has to do with just being in a terrible relationship. And I'm so glad, like I said in the other video, that reaction channels helped Becky see what actually went on. Because I want to tell you something. When you're in a relationship and the relationship ends, sometimes even when you do end the relationship yourself, you blame yourself. You're like, this is all my fault. I did all these things and I shouldn't have done this. But the benefit here is everything is filmed and available for people to not only watch and speculate on, but to, like I said this before in the other video, really the average person who is the reaction channel to give a average opinion of the person on the street. What do you think about this power dynamic? What do you think about two people driving up to a Target or whatever, or a Walmart, and one person saying to the other, hey, your mask doesn't fit, and editing that in iMovie and blasting it to their audience to humiliate their partner. Like I always say, the things that were done to Becky on screen is unimaginably embarrassing and just terrible. So what was done behind the scenes? That's just my opinion, okay? So reaction channels do serve a purpose, just like the news does, just like the entertainment media. Not only is it legal, but more importantly than that, it's a source of entertainment, but it's a source of help for those that need it, okay? And so, because I'm so sick and tired of people saying, oh my God, I started doing this a very long time ago, and people are like, oh my God, you're talking about people? Yeah, if they're public figures and they're gonna blast it on the internet, the media could talk about them, the news could talk about them, and when you're a public figure on YouTube, other people could talk about you. So I'm glad to see that the reaction channels helped Becky.
Do you miss anything at all about Amber?
The time before of her,
It just says, do you miss anything about her?
I miss Twinkie, Wasabi, and Rarity.
So this is my favorite part of the video. I actually think this answer is quite kind and a lot kinder than the type of non-grace that Becky's ex showed. So let me just back up a little bit. If you don't know, when Becky broke up with Amber, with her ex, like I would say the 2.5 to 3 weeks later, I would say it's still like 2.5 weeks. It's in the live stream. She's wearing like a blue shirt and her hair is like in a bun or whatever. Somebody asked Amber Lynn, do you miss anything about Becky? And Becky's ex said, nothing. I don't miss anything about her. Now, this is when they were supposedly best friends. This is when they were supposedly, besties, and we're so much more better being besties than, life partners. And, I'll always love Becky. Becky's ex said, she's such a great friend. She's so amazing. Yet I miss nothing about her. This woman helped you in the lavatory. This woman drove you around in renal failure. This woman did everything for you and was a forever friend at that time. She was a wonderful, wonderful friend. And she was your partner, and like the audacity to say, I miss nothing about her 2.5 weeks after the breakup or 3 weeks after the breakup, when you already were in another relationship. It's just like, I feel, listen, why pick that time, to be honest, really? The whole channel is a lie, but I digress. I'm sure that there could be something missed about losing an amazing friend, even if they didn't have a very romantic relationship. But the point is, Becky's answer isn't just truthful, but it's still kinder than her ex. Yeah, she doesn't miss anything about her. Okay.
How do you still talk to Eric and Ricky? How are they? Why did he stop his YouTube channel? Yes, I still talk to Eric and Ricky. Logan's really good friends with them too. How are they? They're good. And why did they stop YouTube? It was just a lot that Eric didn't want to deal with anymore. Like, he tried it for a while and then was just like, I'll just go back to regular work. And that's just what he did. So he deleted everything.
Okay, I totally understand that he didn't want to deal with things. That's fine. It sounds like, well, listen, if you were there before, like when Eric had a very active channel, the majority of the comments, because I was, you can't see it now because all the videos are gone, but I can promise you, the majority of the comments were not very nice, okay? People kind of relied on his channel to give glimpses of Amber Lynn unedited and give glimpses of, like Amber, right? In different ways. Okay, this is what I want to say, okay? This thing with Eric and Ricky has to end, and I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. Like, it's just a little bit silly. I'm going to explain to you. Before this live stream, Becky's friend went on a live stream on her channel, did a 1-minute live stream and said, we're not going to be talking about Eric and Ricky, and, any questions you have, go direct it to them. Okay, first of all, how? Because there's no real way to contact Eric and Ricky, and I guess Eric's community page where he said keep your name out of my mouth, whatever, out of your mouth. I understand that Eric and Ricky probably don't want to be talked about, and I understand that Becky and her roommate are best friends with them, and that's great. I'm glad that, Becky has kept her friendships, and I'm glad that she's trying to protect her friends. That's fine, Becky. We know that you're a good friend. But I'm just going to say this. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible here, okay?
Amber Lynn shows a lot of soups.
Just like it is unrealistic to assume that you are not going to get any questions about your ex. And, to be fair, Becky has more than answered some questions, and she's made it fun, right, for all of us girls. But it's unrealistic to think that no one will ask about Eric and Ricky. First of all, okay, Eric is a public figure. Just because he went out of the public eye, that's like my opinion. People still remember him, and quite frankly, he made a statement as a public figure, in my opinion, on the community page. Even if to say, I wish some people will keep the names out of the mouth. Okay, my point is this. You don't have to talk about who you don't want to. I've said this before. Do whatever's best for your mental health. And if you've promised your friends something, I totally understand and you respect their wishes, and that's great. But just understand that realistically, not only is Becky a public figure, but more importantly, you are going to still get questions. Not just about your ex, but about Eric and Ricky. So, you could avoid them, but what I'm trying to say is it's understandable why the audience wants to ask the questions.
After leaving your last relationship, do you have any advice for anyone who might have a partner with similar traits as your ex?
Be honest with them. Sit down with them. Calmly tell them how you feel. And then if they don't want to respect you and what you said and try to step back and look at their actions, then that's a lost cause and you just need to leave.
I would agree with that.
How did your relationship with ALR impact you? If you could do something differently, what would it be? Hope you're doing well, Becky.
What I would do differently is not even get in the relationship because at the time I didn't need to be in a relationship. I didn't need to be with someone, and I'm still at that point. I don't need to be with anybody right now.
Okay, first of all, I think it's great, girls, that Becky said that she would have never gotten into the relationship with Anne Boleyn. So this is kind of an older story. Anne Boleyn has a video where they basically talk about the relationship, and Becky says that she did not want to be in a relationship, and you'll hear why in a minute, why she got into it. But basically, obviously, my opinion here is that she regrets that relationship. That relationship was not just toxic and just a bad relationship where there was an imbalance of power and definitely imbalance of Kermit's or whatever. But there's just it was a relationship where Becky was not in control. Somebody was controlling her and somebody was using money against her. And Becky didn't even get the earnings. That's what some of you should ask Becky in the chat. How is it possible that this person didn't even give you the money that she promised for your work when she hired you privately and publicly? Somebody should be, honestly, what bothers me, there's different things that bother me about obviously what Becky went through, but the fact that she said she didn't get a dime of the money that she really made and in those live streams, and that, her ex took it for Netflix, whatever that means, please, she made thousands, is just outrageous. You hired her, Becky's ex, okay? Anyways. But yeah, I think the other thing here, which is very important to say, is just because you're single for years and years doesn't mean you need to get into a relationship. You can be happy single. You do not need a partner. And when it's right, you'll know. There's this pressure, and I think there's especially pressure on women all the time. And this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Becky. Just wanted to say there's a lot of pressure on women that if you don't have a boyfriend, if you don't have a husband, it still exists, or you don't have a wife, or you don't have a partner. Oh, you're going to end up alone. First of all, who cares? And second of all, at the end of the day, some people want that. So I don't think that Becky should rush into something when she isn't even healed from, her relationship yet.
I wasn't ready for a relationship. And I just wish I would have been stronger in saying no, but I was afraid of what I would be losing because I cared. And I wanted to see where it would go. But I was given a time limit.
Okay, sounds like she was I don't know, highly pressured. And that's not even the word I want to use, but highly pressured into getting a relationship with her ex. Look, I know that ultimatums are very popular in relationships, but giving somebody an ultimatum means that somebody in the relationship with you doesn't want to do something, and it's just another way to say that you failed. Look, here's the thing. I know that ultimatums work. I know because I've actually had friends that gave their partners ultimatums, and it worked in the relationship, right? So a person can do whatever you want when you give them an ultimatum. Like I said, it works. I've seen it work. But what does it imply? Basically, I've usually seen it where people are if you don't marry me in this amount of time, I'm going to leave you. Or if you don't, whatever. But it's usually about marriage or whatever, right? Or, different things. But I will say this. So I can understand if you don't want to waste your time with somebody that doesn't want a relationship and they're lying to you about wanting one. That's not what happened here, okay? I can understand if somebody maybe gives somebody the only times that I could understand. I mean, I still think ultimatums are a bad idea, but just my opinion, okay? Like I said, they work for lots of people, but I just think like the person never wanted to do that in the first place usually. It's sometimes it works out, but my opinion on what happened with Becky's ex is Becky's ex needed somebody to take care of her and to drive her around. Because here's what was happening when she met Becky. If you watch Becky's other ex's videos, if you watch Destiny's videos on this, and Destiny's channel is linked down below in my description, always, because I use some of her clips. So if you haven't seen Destiny's videos, I have videos on this already. Destiny said that when she had broken up with Amber and she was already with her new part, Dana, it was apparently Destiny's responsibility to drive Amber around multiple times a week to get this, to get food, to take her food shopping, to get this and to get that. How is it okay that your ex is running your errands for you, Amber? Okay? My point here is this. I think the reason that she gave Becky that ultimatum that you pretty much have to get into this relationship with me or I leave is because she needed somebody with a car to drive her around. That is what I am saying. She needed to live with somebody because she lived alone only once and it wasn't that great for her. She needed somebody she wanted to attach to somebody, okay? And live with somebody and have that person with a car drive her around. And both Becky's ex and Becky have literally talked about this where I think it was during the live stream era, but I remember, hearing them say that Amber had said that she had people in the DMs other than Becky, and pretty much if Becky would be her girlfriend, somebody else would be. And by the way, if that doesn't show you that it was never personalized with Becky, that's why I say my opinion here on Becky's ex, she doesn't love anybody for real except for Destiny. She did love her. And she's just looking for a better deal every single time. She's looking for somebody with a car to drive her around, do her errands. Like, I'm going to leave you with this and we're just going to move on. Let's not forget that Destiny and Dana drove Becky's ex to the first date with Becky. This blows my mind. Take an Uber, get on the whatever, on public transportation or take a car service. Like, basically, I think she got with Becky. Obviously, Becky was a rebound. Becky has spoken about how she didn't feel valued, how she felt like, that Becky's ex believes that her new ex, wifey, Alex Feline, none of those are her names, that Becky's ex is like, oh, well, she's worth it, but Becky wasn't. Becky, you're more than worth it. That's number one. And number two, is beyond clear that she wanted to get into the relationship with Becky, not because of Becky as a person, not because she had feelings. She was looking to rub it in Destiny's face. That's my opinion. Hey, I have a new girlfriend since Destiny dumped her for Dana. And also just to have somebody to take her food shopping, to take her, shopping at Target, to take her to run her errands. She needed somebody with a car. This is not a reason to get into a relationship. And it's so sad that Becky wasted precious years of her life being used. Right, that's about it for today's video. I want to thank you so very much for watching today and taking the time out of your day to spend some time with me. If you enjoyed today's video or you didn't enjoy it, check out this video that's popping up here. I'm going to link a video on a similar topic. You could go and watch it, like it or dislike it, depending on your preferences. Thank you so much for being here. Thoughts, comments, questions, please leave them in the comments down below. And I will see you very, very soon in the next one. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.